What is going on? Welcome into another edition of the DFS OGs podcast right here on RotoGrinders.com, sponsored by our friends over at BetMGM. Make sure you head over there and use our promo code GRINDERS. That's going to get you a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Take advantage. Must be 21 years or older, and you'll hear all the disclaimers at the end of this show. Let me get to my boys. See how week 7. Well, I already know how week 7 was. We're gonna quickly move through week 7 and turn the page. Forward-thinking show here, Notorious Head Chopper joining me as they do each and every week. Chop, let's start with you, buddy. Again, week 7 was tough on the bets. We've been hot overall. Been a good first 6-7 weeks of the season. Last week, not so much. Hopefully DFS was better. College, something, Chop. Give me some good news here on this Wednesday. How you doing, my man?
All right. I mean, good news. It's good and bad. The good news is I think I may have solved my problem with StreamYard and our streaming, and I think
we're gonna knock on wood here. Hopefully we got Chop for the whole show.
The bad news in regards to that is I think the reason why I was having problems was my internet. And the reason why my internet was wrong was because I think my internet provider was screwing me just to get another $20 a month now to bump up some more speed so I could have some more. Like, it's such a scam. I go all these years and the speed is fine. Then all of a sudden, I haven't upgraded. So then all of a sudden they start pulling away some of my speed, and all of a sudden I'm having problems, and now I got to upgrade again. So terrible cycle. These big
Chop. We got to name names. Call them out here.
I don't want them.
Let's put them on blast.
I don't want them to come in and clip my wires, man. Whew. But it's Spectrum, and that's fine. I went to go look for Google Fiber because I heard some really good things about it, but not available in my area. So I'm sticking with Spectrum from now. But it's crazy, man. The speeds are fine for like all these years, and then all of a sudden, they start slowing down mysteriously. And so, sir, you need to upgrade to the next package up, another $20 a month. Oh, all right. So far, so good. We'll see if that's the problem, if that holds up. But crazy, man. What a scam.
Well, we'll know if anyone from Spectrum is listening to the show. If Chop starts to disappear, gets choppy here in the next coming weeks, we'll know why. So, no issues with your internet over there, my man. How was week 7? How you doing on this fine Wednesday?
Sorry, my mom's trying to call me right at the start of the show.
There we go.
Just happens. The internet going out is like the iPhone, loses battery when you have the older iPhone. So you have to go and get the new iPhone, even though they all pretty much do the same thing. But I'm doing pretty good. Other than betting, other than Survivor, other than it's snowing right now after being 70 degrees last week. So, maybe I could be doing a little better.
All right. Well, we're going to pretend week 7 was the old internet, the old iPhone. We're upgrading here in week 8. It was not great. Obviously, the Survivor picks were in New England last week. We all saw how that game went, which took out the majority of people in a Survivor. The one that I was looking at, almost 40% of the pool had New England as their pick. So not a great week. We turn forward. We turn the page. We look ahead, and we'll get back on track here for week 8, guys. So let's dive in. Thursday Night Football should be a good one here. We think. On paper, this looks like a good one. Baltimore and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, a lot of line movement here in this one. This opened up Tampa Bay -3. It has swung all the way in favor of Baltimore. -1 is where we sit currently here at BetMGM. We'll be using their odds here throughout the show as the sponsor. The show total at 45.5. So, Nola, we'll stay with you. I mean, two teams that have drastically disappointed so far. Tom Brady just not looking the same. Everything going on in his personal life. Lamar Jackson's had 3 or 4 down games in a row. The lone bright spot, Gus Edwards returning to that lineup, looked good last week. So big line movement here. Thoughts here Thursday night, Lamar against Brady.
Yeah, this is a tough one. The Bucs ended up losing last week to the Panthers, which was incredibly bad. But I was super happy because I didn't have them in Survivor. And then obviously Patriots went down on Monday night, so that didn't help me whatsoever. I don't know. We keep thinking, maybe this is the game that Brady bounces back, but maybe it's just not going to happen. I haven't been that impressed with the Ravens, but they did get Gus Edwards back. Their ground game looked a little bit better. So I will take the road team here, but I do not feel great about it.
All right, Chop, let's get over to you here. Thursday night football, Ravens, Bucks, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, both guys kind of struggling from what we're used to here. And big line movement here in this one. Are you with the movement? Or are you taking the home team with points?
Oh, man. This is getting borderline, like, I don't want to say must win, but it's borderline like what's happening here with Tom Brady. I mean, 3-4, can they go 3-5 and still think it just looks so bad? But the Baltimore's not impressing me at all either. So this is a really tough game. I don't even have any inkling of what's going to happen in this game. I guess if I was going to say anything, I'll lean towards the under just because the offenses are underperforming so drastically right now. The two quarterbacks aren't playing very well. So I lean towards the under, but this is a real toss-up in terms of underperformers here.
Yeah, no doubt. No best bets for me here on this one either. Just kind of looking at some of the splits here right now. 78% of the bets rolling in on the Ravens, which is driving a lot of that line movement. Everyone ready to bury Tom Brady and company here. So I would have a lean towards the home team, just as a fade the public here in this one, and probably grab the money line near even odds instead of the 1 point. We'll see if it moves any further. Likely settles in around a pick if I had to guess here on this game. But again, I'm with you guys. Kind of hesitant on both of these teams. Not a game I really want to put any USD on. So I will pass. Again, small lean to the home team, the Tampa Bay Bucks. All right, let's move to Sunday. Another London game on the books. The proverbial home team, year in and year out in London. They're home away from home. The Jacksonville London Jaguars are taking on the Denver Broncos. This has stayed at open. Jaguars -2.5. The total hasn't moved that much either, down at 39.5. So, Chop, we'll stay with you. Jacksonville, it's been a roller coaster, as Derek knows. It's been up, it's been down, some good, some bad. Denver, we'll see if Russell Wilson back in that lineup or not. Rippon certainly did not look great last week. So, two teams with a lot of question marks going across the pond, total under 40. Get excited for this game in London, Chop.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll say that much about it. I just read a tweet. It might be real. I don't know. It might be a parody.
Let's hear it.
I read this tweet. Russell Wilson told reporters he spent 4 hours working out and rehabbing on the Broncos' flight to London. He said he was doing high knees in the aisle while his teammates slept. I can't believe that that's true. I can't believe it.
I absolutely believe that. 100%.
A 4-hour flight, this big long flight to London, and these guys, everybody's sleeping and catching up on, and he's doing high knees in the aisle. I can picture it, but it's almost parody at this point. Russell is, I don't know, man. I don't know what happened to Russell after college. He was so good. He was so cool in college, man.
Yes, he was.
I don't know what happened, but he should be back this week. He needs to be back. If he's not back, Broncos will get rolled. But if he's back, I think they got a shot here. So I'm going to play the hunch that he's going to play and maybe play after the time off, maybe that kind of rejuvenates him a little bit. So I'm going to take the Broncos here. Just a lean, though, nothing special.
All right, let's go to our Jacksonville Jags expert here. I always love to get his input on this team. And just looking at this, Notorious, I'm staying away. I don't know what Jacksonville team is going to show up. Now, if you're a Travis Etienne owner in fantasy, you're loving life. James Robinson shipped off to the New York Jets earlier this week. So, it's a decent spot against Denver. They haven't been great against the run. So Etienne, a guy you can look at in DFS this week. But no, what are we doing here? You tell us. Jags, do you trust them here as favorites in London, or are you with Chop on the Denver side?
Yeah, did a quick Google search to see Jacksonville's record in London. They're 4-4, but the question that kept popping up is why do they keep playing so much in London? And yeah, it's a good question. As a fan, I don't love losing the home game, half the time. But anyway, now we're hearing rumors that the Broncos are going to be trading Bradley Chubb if they lose this game. So I have no idea what's going on with either of these teams. It's a complete stay away from me. Generally like to lean toward the under in these London games, but that's a really low number as is. So I'm abstaining, and I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you here. I don't even have a lean in. Again, I'd be with you. The lean would be the under, but on that low of a number, I mean, that's Chop's got something here.
I don't like. He just mentioned Bradley Chubb in trade rumors, and Bradley Chubb just got drafted a few years ago.
Not too long ago.
Like, and then also that reminded me that I just heard Jerry Judy's name in trade rumors. Well, so before the season starts, you bring in Russell because you think, man, we got a chance for a Super Bowl. Do you think it's all magically gone now? I don't think it's all magically like a terrible franchise that you need to trade all your good players. Can you guys see that you have made a terrible error in your coaching decision? Why trade the whole franchise away and keep the coach when the coach is the problem? Just get rid of the coach and move on. Even if it's right now, even if that's after this week, like we lose this week, let's not trade Bradley Chubb, an incredible defensive lineman, and Jerry Jeudy, who's never really had the chance to blossom in the NFL. Let's just fire the coach. Forget it. We made a 7-week mistake. My bad. We'll move on now.
Yeah.
Leave his ass in London. Leave his ass there.
Yes.
We're going. Are you going to be looking around John Travolta style? Where's the plane? It's not here. You're stuck in London. We're moving on without. I'm with you. How do you spend all that money on Russell Wilson? You lose your franchise running back. What is it going to do to trade away some of your young pieces that are supposedly your building blocks to try to draft again?
With that Russell contract. You paid the guy. Like you're stuck with that. Why would you trade everybody? You're stuck with this guy. Were you going to rebuild around Russell when he's 45 years old?
And you're going to let this guy make draft picks for you, who is not a good coach. So you're going to take all these picks and become worse, likely. So, no. Any thoughts on this with the Broncos?
No, love the tangent and agree with everything you guys are saying.
Just unreal. Yeah, it's hack. When your name's Hack, you don't belong to be a coach. You're a hack. Move on. All right, let's see. Sunday main slate. Let's see if it gets any better here. We got the Bears and the Cowboys up next. If you're watching us on YouTube, first of all, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But on the screen, you see scoresandodds.com. You hear us talking about each and every week. If you are not utilizing that, checking it out, in my opinion, you are missing out. A ton of great information, just the basics. And there's so much to this site, but comparing the odds across the different books is very important. Getting the best price, and you'll see there's going to be different odds all across the board. You'd be surprised at some of the spreads that you see between these numbers. So getting that, the Parlay IQ tool, which is going to help you build plus EV, same game parlays, regular parlays, first of its kind in the industry. So if you have not investigated, checked it out yet, go and do that. All three of us contribute to the site each and every week. So scoresandodds.com. Wanted to give them a plug here as we utilize it each and every week here on the show. All right, Bears, Cowboys up next. Chicago coming off a stunner, destroyed the survivor hopes. Big win in New England. I don't know that anybody saw that coming, especially the way they did it, 33-14. Offense finally comes alive. Justin Fields looks good in that game. So we'll see if they can keep that rolling here. Chop, your Cowboys look good. The defense looks good. Detroit, we'll see if they get it going. Nope. The defense shuts down the Lions last week. So we'll start with you here, Chop. This is your squad. Big number here, 9.5, the latest spread at BetMGM in favor of the Cowboys. That's down from a 10 at open, 42.5 on the total. So do you believe what you saw out of the Bears? I guess is the question here. It's a pretty big spread here. Dak returned to the lineup, didn't have to do a whole lot in that game. Zeke a little bit banged up. We'll keep an eye on him. Chop, is this spread too high? Not high enough? What are we doing here, Bears and Cowboys?
Well, first of all, I'd like to go ahead and take a moment to, eat some crow. At the beginning of the year, I said the Cowboys were going to punt this year and that they were looking forward to next year, and that I thought they had the pieces in place next year, make a couple of moves and get a good draft pick, and they could be in the Super Bowl next year. But they've gone full throttle with this year, and the defense looks legit, man. It looks really good. You got the biggest game record on defense in the game out there. Parsons is incredible. So they look good. And under the radar, they just made a move yesterday to pick up Jonathan Hankins from the Raiders. A couple years ago, he graded out as the top run stopper in the middle of a defensive line. Now, he had a rough couple years, but all they did was swap a 6th for a 7th round pick. So they basically gave up nothing to have this guy bring him in and give him a shot. So they're actually getting a little stronger on defense now. And there's trade rumors with DJ Moore's name thrown out there. So I'm very intrigued by Dallas. I think there is a chance that they could really make some waves this year, man. So props to them. I think the Bears thing was a fluke on Monday night. They did talk about that we're going to change up the offense a little bit to look a lot like Lamar's offense in Baltimore. So maybe that's how Fields got there. But Fields is going to have a tough time. He's going to have to run for like 150 yards here if he's going to. And I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't think they drop back and pass for anything. He'll be lit up all day long. So I'm going to lock in the Cowboys here as one of my best bets this week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm also locking in the Cowboys here. It feels like the public's going to be all over the Bears. Look what they did last week. And we're seeing that in the early betting market, 70% of the bets on the Chicago Bears with the points here. You had 60% of the money with Dallas here. So this is always changing. Another feature here at Scores and Odds that I really enjoy. So I'm with you, Chop. I could see a shutout here, to be honest. Yeah, the Bears look great. They kind of stunned New England, and which was playing well, but really, who did New England beat that you're overly like, wow, they're playing at a high level. They don't even know who their quarterback is anymore. So it was kind of a weird situation here. And kudos to the Bears, but this is a different monster. This defense is legit. I think Chicago's going to be really held down. Like you said, Fields is going to have to be Superman in this one to get any kind of offense generated. So I see another ugly game similar to last week. Dallas just gets it done defensively. At the end, you look up, it's 23-6. I see a similar type game here. I'm also locking in the Cowboys as the best bet. No, 3 for 3 here, or are you riding a wave with the Bears and Justin Fields?
Yeah, I'm going to go make it 3 for 3. I mean, I certainly see the argument for the Bears. They want to run the ball, and, they're changing up their offense to let Fields run the ball more. So when you have 9.5 point spread, I mean, certainly, a scenario where the Bears just keep the game close, grind out the clock, but they're not a team that you can, expect to play well from behind. If the Cowboys build a big lead, I just don't think, the Bears are going to have enough firepower. Plus, they're playing on a short week. Plus, they're playing back-to-back road games. So I am locking in the Cowboys as well.
All right, Cowboys on the board. First best bet for everybody. Let's move on to the Raiders and Saints up next. Couple 2-win teams here. Desperate, in need of a win here. A lot of line movement in this one as well. It opened up New Orleans -1.5. That has swung to the Vegas side. They now find themselves as 1.5 point favorites. Big total here at 50, Noto. So the Raiders look good last week, kind of pull away at the end with a few turnovers against the Houston Texans. Now go on the road as favorites. Josh Jacobs, guy's been incredible. I mean, I'm getting questions. Should I trade Jonathan Taylor for Josh Jacobs? I mean, the guy's been that good. So can this wave continue for him, for this team? Saints, we got to see. Is it Dalton, who we saw put up a ton of yards, but a lot of turnovers as well? Jameis back in that lineup. What receivers are healthy? So as always, the Saints a big question mark with injuries, but big total game here, Noto. Who do you got, Raiders or Saints?
Yeah, love seeing Josh Jacobs play well. We talk about it a lot, guys in contract years that just end up having the best years of their career. So good to see him playing well. I think everyone kind of got that situation wrong. The Raiders drafted Zamir White, and they didn't give Jacobs the extension, so it kind of looked like, things were going to turn there. But he's been awesome this year. The defense is playing a little bit better for the Raiders. They had a bye 2 weeks ago, so I think I'm going to take the road team. The Saints just continually let me down. Anytime I think they're in a good spot, they just don't cover the spread. So I don't like betting against New Orleans at home, but I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think they're still, alive in the AFC.
Chop, let's get over to you. Saints, Raiders, two teams, again, that have disappointed. Seems like most of the NFL, we can label a disappointment outside of maybe Philadelphia and a couple teams in the AFC. But these two teams both need a win here. Raiders riding high after last week. Saints, again, a lot of injury questions. What are you doing in this one, Chop? Vegas and New Orleans?
Yeah, the injuries that's the big question about the Saints. I I can't pull the trigger on the Saints with all the injuries that are out there. I mean, I've seen enough of Andy Dalton now. There's no way he's going to be he's going to replace Jameis if Jameis is 100% healthy, or else he shouldn't replace him. Yeah, so too many injuries on the Saints. I have to ride with the Raiders, who came off the bye and looked pretty decent. I expect them to kind of carry it over this week. So I would lean towards the Raiders, but nothing big unless I heard all the injury news. That injury news is going to be big for New Orleans. They're under the radar. They're beat up on defense too, man, and that's costing them big time.
Yeah, both sides of the ball, certainly a ton of injuries for that team. So it's tough to make a call on this one early in the week. I would be with you, Chop, on the Raiders side if I had to make a pick right now, but likely a stay away for me. We'll see if they can get a little bit healthy on both sides of the ball, but still a lot of questions to be answered in that one. All right, let's move on. Carolina, Atlanta up next. We got Atlanta 4.5-point favorites. That's been bet down from 6.5. Total at 41 in this one. We saw Carolina pull a shocker, and maybe not with as bad as Tampa Bay has been playing, but they get the 21-3 win over Tom Brady and company. Atlanta, we said it last week. We were waiting for the wheels to fall off. They go to Cincy, and they certainly got smacked around by the Bengals. So coming back home here to take on a divisional rival. So, Chop, what happens here? Carolina riding high, Atlanta coming off the loss. So we see the line movement, obviously in favor of Carolina, driving this line down to 4.5. Has it come far enough? What are you doing here, Panthers, Falcons?
These are your Falcons. I mean, I should probably defer to you, but that's kind of a big number for Atlanta, even at home. And Carolina, though, they kind of stink. But then again, they looked as good as they did all year long last week. Like, I don't know how Deontay Foreman is still running this well in the NFL, coming off of a couple years ago he blew out his Achilles, and usually that's like the end of it for running backs, man, in the NFL. He's still running hardcore. So could they be better without McCaffrey? I don't know. PJ Walker's out there running around. He's probably better than Mayfield in general. He's mobile and stuff. So I don't know. It's an interesting matchup here, man. I don't have a lean either way. I'm going to defer to our Falcons expert here. He usually gets the Falcons picks 100%.
All right, here I'm locking in a best bet with the Falcons again this week, and I am getting back on the train. So jumped on 6-0 to start the year with the Falcons. We jumped off last week, getting back on the train here, and the reason why I think the public really overvaluing Carolina right now. Look, it was a great win. Are they better than without McCaffrey? Maybe. I know most people think that's crazy, but Foreman, Hubbard both look good. They finally got DJ Moore back involved in that offense. Defense is certainly the strength of this team, but no, I'm going back to the Falcons here. I just think the public going to be all over Carolina here. You're going to get a team that's hardly being bet on here. Everyone's staying off the train. Let's get back aboard here. I'm glad this line has come down. Feel much better at 4.5 than I would at 6.5. I'm locking in the Falcons. Best bet once again here in week 8. So are you with me? Are you staying on the sidelines here of this train? What are you doing here? Panthers, Falcons.
Yeah, it kind of seems like the best time to bet the Falcons is when everybody doesn't want to. I mean, the first, 5 weeks, nobody wanted to bet on them. They covered the spread. Then everybody hopped on them last week, and they got blown out. And as someone that likes to roster Kyle Pitts and lose a lot of money doing it, I mean, they're down 3 touchdowns, and they're still running the ball 60% of the time. So this team, they're going to run the ball, and I think they're going to have success doing it at home against this Panthers team. So I'm with you. I'll take the Falcons. I don't think I'm going to lock them in, but, yeah, that's my side for sure.
Sidebar here on the Falcons, just for a minute. We talked about Denver, some of their issues. I have some of the same questions with Atlanta. Look at the draft capital you spent on Kyle Pitts and Drake London. Yet you're both top 10 picks. Yet you want to run the ball 7,000 times. I mean, why spend
Without
that draft
Patterson.
capital? Why not load up on linemen? Why not take Breece Hall? Why not load up on your defense? I mean, what was the point of drafting these guys when you are barely going to – it reminds me when I coached flag football with 8-year-olds, and you really couldn't pass. I mean, no one could really throw. You just handed it off. Maybe you sneak in a couple passes here or there. This is what it reminds me of, Noto. So why spend that draft capital on these guys when you aren't even going to use them? They're just out there doing wind sprints, as the kids love to say.
Yeah, I don't get it whatsoever. I know Mariota's not a great, passer, especially at this stage of his career, but he's got that in him. And I mean, defenses are clearly loading up the box against the run. Man, yeah, I had a bunch of Cincinnati stacks, and all of them had bringbacks with London or Pitts last week. And I kept thinking, all right, perfect game script, time to air it out. But nope, run, pass on third down, run, pass on third down, or run on third down. They don't mind doing that either. So I don't get it. Maybe they're just building their receivers for the future quarterback and not worrying about now.
And I get that, if you're playing to the strengths of your team, which is obviously running the ball, and you still got to be able to throw the ball a little bit in this day and age. Chop, any thoughts on this? All that draft capital going into these guys, and they are barely getting any usage.
It's the same that we talked about with Denver. Like, who's making these decisions? How are these guys so bad at making decisions at this level? I understand this if you're a high school athletic director for a small town and you just kind of got thrown in the job, but these are GMs and coaches for billion-dollar franchises. They just make poor decisions. I don't know. I don't get it either, but it's the state of the NFL right now. There's like probably a handful of really good GMs out there, and that's it.
And it's also, you could say that they're happy. They're sitting at, 3-4 is probably better than they thought they would be. But if you don't believe in Mariota as a passer, well, then let's give Desmond Ridder a chance. Just boggles me, baffles me, whatever the word may be. So let's move on. Battle of Pennsylvania here, Pittsburgh and the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. This one is on the move, opened at Philly -9.5. That has crossed over into double digits. We're now at 10.5, total at 43.5. So, Chop, we'll stay with you here. Eagles have looked dominant. Pittsburgh, you got to give them credit. They get that win against Tampa. They hang in there against Miami, come up a little bit short here. Big underdogs here once again. What are you doing in this one, Pittsburgh and Philly?
Yeah, they've played better lately, but now you're getting a team this good coming off of a bye week. This is going to be trouble. So it's a big spread, but I'm going to use the bye week here and hope that the Eagles pound them. So I'm going to lock in Philly here as a best bet. They're just really good, and I think that extra week is going to be the difference here between keeping this game close and absolutely blowing them out. So I'll take Philly.
All right, Noto, Chop's got Philly rolling here. Again, Pittsburgh's been competitive, but this is a tough test. Maybe the best team in the NFL right now, both sides of the ball, coming off the bye. Should be nice and fresh here. Big spread. What are you doing here, Steelers-Eagles?
Yeah, I think last week's game against the Dolphins was a little misleading. I mean, Miami was able to move the ball a bunch. They just ended up kicking a bunch of field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. And, you talk about the Eagles coming off the bye. They've been the most dominant team thus far. They're still the only undefeated team in the NFL. Give me the Eagles. Lock them in as my best bet.
All right. I have Chop with Dallas and Philly. Noto with Dallas and Philly. Have I missed anything?
I don't think so.
All right. Moving on. Speaking of Miami, they are up next. They hit the road to take on the Detroit Lions. Miami sitting at 4-3. Detroit at 1-5, opened up Miami -3. That's up to 3.5 total at 51.5. Big number here in this one. So, Noto, you mentioned Miami moved the ball a lot. That first drive, they looked incredible. They went right down the field and scored, and then it just kind of, stalled from there on out. Now they get about the best matchup that you could ask for, a reeling Detroit Lions team. Clearly question marks with Amon-Ra St. Brown. They said he did not have a concussion, but we know things are a little bit tighter these days, so likely back in the lineup, and we'll have to see on DeAndre Swift. But to me, that's the big key in this game, Noto. This offense just looks so much better with those two guys in it, obviously. Without them, Jared Goff looks kind of lost here. Tua and company should be able to shred this defense. So Miami, small road favorite here. What are you doing? Dolphins, Lions.
Yeah, I think it's a classic spot where the Dolphins build a big lead and then the Lions score a bunch in the second half, and maybe they cover the 3, maybe they don't. So I'd feel better if it was just 3, but I think there's going to be a ton of points scored in this one. Tua looked good last week. I think the offense is just much better with him under center. So I'm going to take the over, and I feel pretty good about it. I mean, the Lions overs have just smashed this season, and it doesn't seem like this one's high enough.
I'm in agreement with you if those guys are in the lineup. Again,
Yeah.
it's been night and day with and without, and what this offense looks like. And if they're both in, I like the over, but I'm gonna lock in a best bet here on the spread. I'm going back on the Lions train here. It just seems like nobody wants to. Everybody loved them. Now everybody hates them. Public's going to be all over Miami here with what they've seen with Tua back. How can they possibly stop Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle? So I certainly understand those concerns, but I think the Lions with the points at home, like you said, maybe it's a backdoor cover. Maybe they dig that big hole and have to come back, or maybe they're just competitive here and can win outright. That would not surprise me here as well. So I am locking in the Lions as a best bet here. Chop, Dolphins, Lions, interesting game, big total. What are you doing here?
I also have a best bet for this game.
Uh-oh, he's going on the other side of me here.
I am not. I'm taking the Lions too because, number one, like I watch the Dolphins sometimes and I say, oh my God, that is such a sharp play design. Look at the way he's getting Tyreek open, or look at the way he's getting Waddle open. But for some reason, like they just can't piece it together for 4 quarters outside of the Baltimore game, which was all the fourth quarter comeback, catch up, everything broke perfect for you. I look at Tua and like there are flashes, but there's no consistency there. Like there's just no consistency. So I'm not super impressed. I'm impressed with parts of their offense, but not as a total. And then Detroit, I think, now this is all caveat. It depends on DeAndre Swift. I need Swift back in this lineup bad, because if Swift is like Jamal Williams, he's fine. Let's not act like running backs really don't matter. Swift is so superior to everybody else. He makes this thing an offense, like it makes it a juggernaut of an offense. He's so good behind that offensive line. So I need Swift back in there, but I think the Lions, I mean, you give me the hook too. I think the Lions can win, but not only are you giving me a field goal, you're giving me the hook also. So I got to lock in the Lions here.
Yeah, the 3.5 certainly helps. We'll see about Swift. I'm with you on that. Just taking a look at the money line real quick. Plus 150 here at BetMGM. So don't hate that either. Lions, a best bet for Chop and I. Let's move on. Arizona, Minnesota, next game. This is one of those line movements that a little bit confusing. I mean, this opened up Minnesota -6, been bet all the way down to 3.5 here in favor of the Vikings. So now small home favorites here, big totals we'd expect at 49. So Chop, to see this one move, I'm thinking, okay, DeAndre Hopkins is back, but we knew he was back. I don't see any major injuries on the Minnesota side unless I missed something here. So any thoughts on this line movement? A little weird with Arizona going down from 6 to 3.5 here on the road.
No, I don't have any clue of why that's happening. So I'm staying away from the game in general. I think there are points here. I think they're just a better offense with Hopkins out there. So I think they can score on Minnesota, and Minnesota can certainly score on Arizona. So I'd lean towards the over, and I don't know why this thing is going haywire like that, but I'd stay away from it.
Yeah, that's kind of my viewpoint as well, is more of a stay away. Just did get going back to the Saints. Starting quarterback has been named for week 8, and it is Andy Dalton starting once again here for the New Orleans Saints. So no comment on that if you want. This line movement as well is a little confusing here, why it's moved so much, but Vikings 3.5, big total here. What do you got, Minnesota, Arizona?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the Minnesota anyway. So the fact that I'm getting, a better spread at this point, that's fine with me. I don't really understand the movement either. It is good to see DeAndre Hopkins back out there. Looked great last week. I mean, a lot of, shorter routes, but he's catching and making people miss, went over 100 yards. And obviously the splits for Kyler Murray much better with Hopkins in the lineup. But Minnesota coming off the bye, they're playing at home. I just think they're the better offense, and Kyler Murray, he's been fine, just not in that first quarter, not in the first half. So, give me the Vikings. I don't have a strong take on it, but looking at the rest of the board, there's not a lot that I like, so I guess I'll lock them in.
All right, Vikings it is, and you always mention them first quarter, first half bets. Never a bad idea. Arizona always seems to start slow. Can that continue week in and week out? Probably not, but something to consider as well here in favor of the Vikings. All right, last game in the early window, back to the AFC East. New England and the Jets. New England, the favorite here at -2, opened up at -1.5, low total at 40.5. The big news here, obviously, Breece Hall done for the season, torn ACL with the Jets, which absolutely sucks. He was starting to get it going. The Jets have probably been the biggest story. The Jets and the Giants, honestly, early on, 5-2 start for this Jets team, powered by Breece Hall and that defense. Now, Noto, what do they do without Hall? I mean, they still have Michael Carter there. They bring in James Robinson. I don't think the game plan changes a ton. Run the ball, limit what Zach Wilson has to do, and win defensively. The Patriots favored here, though, coming off that loss. So what do you got here, New England and the Jets?
Pulling up the money splits here, I was a little surprised. I thought everybody would be on the Jets after, they've been winning games, went into Denver. They beat the Broncos. I was obviously on Denver last week, and that did not work out. That was probably one of the bigger mistakes I made all season. But I don't know, man. Patriots got some quarterback controversy going on. They had Mac Jones in there the first couple drives, and then Zappy came in and looked great, and then he looked terrible the rest of the game. So I'm worried about Breece Hall, but I'll lean with the home team and just ride some of the momentum of the Jets.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was surprised as well. The bets, the money, all in favor of New England here, but I lean the Jets here as well. I'm not locking them in as a best bet. Still want to see what things look like without Breece Hall, who just created big plays, and that's what got him that win basically in Denver. That was the difference. His long touchdown run did the same in Lambeau. So can they replicate that with Carter Robinson? We'll see. So Chop, the Jets, 5-2, no Breece Hall. The Patriots coming off of a loss, but they are the road favorites here. What do you got, New England and the Jets?
Yeah, first of all, I can't touch New England after that Monday night debacle. They're just done. They're just not a good team at all. So can't touch them. But if you don't think that a running back matters, wait till you see what happens with the Jets here without Breece Hall. He was the thing that was making everything roll, man. So without him, I got a feeling they're going to be in bad shape. And so I'm not touching this game. Maybe I would take the under here. That's about it. But I would, because I can't touch New England. But you're right. The big plays are what was boosting up this offense with Breece Hall, because Zach Wilson's terrible. So can't mess with Elijah Moore, by the way. He's going to come back this week, but he wants to get out of there. Give the guy the damn ball, man. You can't lose a young wide receiver like this just because you're not getting him the ball. Get him the ball. Like, give it a shot, man. Try something different here. So I'm abstaining from the side. I'll take the under on the total, but Breece Hall was good, and they're going to see just how much he mattered to that offense this week.
Yeah, it's a shame because Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, these are some talented receivers. Man, you put them with a quarterback that's throwing the ball. I'm begging for Green Bay to go get Elijah Moore, DJ Moore. Go get one of these Moores, but to no avail. So we did just get note. Mac Jones took 90% of the first team snaps for New England. So there you go. If you're wondering if there's a controversy, I think Zappy was the story for about 15 minutes, and then it got ugly quick. So no surprise that they would be going back to Mac Jones. So keep an eye on that as you progress towards Sunday. All right, let's get into the afternoon games. We got Tennessee and Houston coming up next. Tennessee, 2-point favorites here on the road. That's down from 3.5 at open. The total low one, as you'd expect, at 40.5. So Chop will stay with you. Tennessee, one of them boring victories against the Colts, 19-10 last week. Houston was competitive in Vegas, was feeling good about my Houston pick till they kind of started turning the ball over. And things went off the rails here. So expecting another ugly game here. Derrick Henry likely a popular play this week against this bad Houston team. Is he enough, Chop? Is he the reason Tennessee gets the W here?
I think so. And I know this is probably a super, super square pick, but if we're going to drop below a field goal, I'm going to have to lock in Tennessee here. I don't think they win by much more than a field goal, but I think they do walk away with a win here. Houston's been good most of the year, like competitive, but Tennessee they have such a good coaching system, a good culture in place. They just know how to win. So I was looking at some of the stats the other day. I don't have them in front of me, but Derrick Henry crushes this defense. the last few years or last several meetings. So I got a feeling he's going to be more than a handful for Houston here. And Tennessee just knows how to win games. So I think they'll eke it out. And if you eking it out in the NFL, that usually means field goal. Field goal does us perfectly fine here. So I'm going to lock in Tennessee.
I think I'm with you. I'm not locking in a best. Is that a best bet, Chop?
Yep, going to be a best bet.
All right. I'm not going that far, but I am with you. And I've been a supporter of this Houston team. They've been competitive. I still think they'll be competitive here, but I don't know if they're going to stop Derrick Henry. I'm gonna pull up some game logs here while Noto's talking. But Noto, I'm on the Tennessee side here as well. What are you doing here, Titans and Texans?
Yeah, I mean, this is a slam dunk for me. Give me the Titans. They've given the ball to Derrick Henry 58 times just on the ground the last 2 games. The Texans are dead last in rush defense DVOA. They're one of the worst teams in defensive adjusted line yards. And I just haven't seen anything, from Davis Mills this season. He looked pretty good in his rookie season, hasn't done much. I mean, Dameon Pierce has been awesome. They're going to give him the ball a bunch, but I love Tennessee in this spot. I'll take it by double digits. Give me some alternate spreads in this one.
All right. You guys remember the graphic of Derrick Henry in high school and the ridiculous stats? Well, his game logs against Houston look about the same. So this guy has gone for over 200 yards in each of the last 3 against the Houston Texans. 250 in the last game, 212 in 2020, 211 rushing yards in 2019. 7 touchdowns over that time as well. Multiple touchdowns on each and every game. So 200 plus yards, multiple touchdowns each and every time. Titans certainly look like they're in a good spot. Derrick Henry.
I know you want you a receiver down there in Green Bay. My sources are telling me Brandon Cooks is on the chopping block here.
Yeah.
Cold weather. You don't want Cooks in cold weather.
Yeah, Cooks, exactly.
Oh, he was an Oregon State guy. He's good in cold weather, man. He's good.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the price. He could probably do one of those deals where you swap like a 5th round pick. Ours is earlier, so you can have our 5th round. We'll take yours, and you can have Brandon Cook.
Look, I'm trying to off Cooks off on me.
Dude, Cooks would look like a freaking Randy Moss right now compared to some of the guys that Aaron Rodgers is.
So would I.
Exactly. Take a shot at. No, don't give up any draft. Don't give up any draft equity because.
Are we sure it's not Rodgers?
No way, man.
I'm not sure it's not Rodgers.
I don't think so. No.
He's got to take some of the blame here.
I'll tell you this much. I did hear a telling stat today when you pull up PFF and the time, the amount of time you have to get rid of the ball. His is like second worst to Tom Brady in the NFL this year. Offensive line letting them down too. Wide receivers are not good, not getting open. Obviously, what would you expect when Alan Lazard is your number 1 and he's a run blocker is his best asset, but they don't have the time. He needs the time. He's not scrambling around doing the things he used to do.
Yeah, no thanks on Brandon Cooks. Rodgers certainly has to own some of that. I'll stick with my hopes from Elijah or DJ Moore, although I don't think we're getting either of them, but we shall see. So Derrick Henry, fire him up this week with confidence against the Houston Texans. Next game, the upstart. 2 upstarts here. The Giants 6-1, Seattle 4-3. They are colliding in our next game. This thing opened up Seattle -2.5. That is up to -3. Total at 45 in this one. So Chop, we'll stay with you. I mean, Geno Smith on one side, Daniel Jones on the other. 2 of the better teams in the NFC, record-wise at least. Saquon's been a story. Ken Walker's been a story. So lots of storylines here. Giants, Seahawks, Chop. Let's boil it down. Who are we betting on in this one?
It's a very interesting game in that all we've heard now for like the past 4 weeks, well, the Giants are the worst 3-1 team we've ever seen. They're the worst 4-1 team ever. They're the worst 5-1 team ever. Now they're the worst 6-1 team. They just keep finding a way to win. So I give them credit for that. But it is generally a pretty bad roster outside of Saquon. Don't know how they're pulling it off, but they are. I wanted to take Seattle. No way can I touch Seattle, though, without Metcalf. You just lost one of your biggest, if not your biggest weapon, although Kenneth Walker is excellent. We knew that coming out of Michigan State, but he's looked every bit the part. So it's a toss-up for me right there without Metcalf, so I'm not going to touch that aspect of it. I don't really have a lean on it. If I was going to lean one thing or another, I'd say without Metcalf and with the Giants not being great offensively, I'd probably lean under 44.5. But as far as that spread, I mean, a field goal, yeah, that's about right for me.
I got a best bet here, Chuck. They don't need DK Metcalf. They got the great Marquise Goodwin out there doing hurdles, scoring touchdowns.
Slate breaker Goodwin.
Who needs DK Metcalf when you got Marquise Goodwin? I'm locking in Seattle here at home. I just think this is a good spot for them. Giants, yes, they've been great. Daniel Jones has been a good story. They're playing well, but it's been a lot of ugly games here. And Seattle kind of the same, but Seattle's wins have been more impressive to me. I mean, go and beat the Chargers, who, for all their issues, they're still a very good team. I like Seattle in the spot. Metcalf, obviously, a big loss here, but no, I'm locking in the Seahawks. Best bet. What do you got here? Giants and Seahawks.
Outside of the Eagles, how bad is the NFC this year?
So terrible.
Geez, these teams are 6-1 and 4-3. I don't know. I don't like either team. I don't like either side. I'll just take the over because Seattle's defense is bad, and I don't know. No conviction whatsoever. So sorry, guys.
Hey, you're good, man. So you don't have to have conviction on every game. That's the thing. So another report here coming in. Adam Schefter, no practice for Deebo Samuel today as of Wednesday. We'll be talking about the Niners here coming up shortly. So
Noto has, he kind of touched a nerve there talking about the NFC and. First of all,
the Cowboys. The
NFC Beast. Oh. It's not the NFC East. It's the NFC Beast. But it's not like they're just beating up on the NFC. The Giants beat Tennessee. They beat Baltimore and Jacksonville. So they're taking it out on the AFC too. I mean, they're squeaking. I don't believe in them either, but they're beating up on the AFC too.
I thought Chop was going to come with a Dallas Cowboys rant there. You're leaving out my team as an NFC contender.
Nah, they're not really a contender. They're not a contender yet.
Yeah, I know. I got nothing to say.
I do know this much. I know we locked in Dallas already, and I totally forgot about this. I don't think Zeke plays this week. I think that's good for our bet. We're going to get a full Tony Pollard. So, in fact, if you guys are out there and you want to lock that one in before they officially rule out Zeke, I can't imagine that line goes down. I imagine it would go up. Like a full Pollard load is so much better than splitting with Zeke. Now, I don't want it for the full year because I want to keep Pollard healthy, and still got the spring in a step late in the year, but it's just good for our 1 week bet right here.
The rich get richer here. The updates are just pouring in as we record. The Philadelphia Eagles have made a trade. They have acquired defensive end Robert Quinn. Thoughts?
For me?
Yeah, from anybody.
I'm not. I don't have to, I can't give any love to the Eagles. I don't like the Eagles. They're in the NFC East, but I don't know, man. Like I'd have to pull up his numbers. Last time I remember Robert Quinn, he was flopping around the field for Dallas, and then they had to get rid of him mid-season. So I don't know if I'm super impressed by that.
Here's why I like it, is that defensive line is loaded, and you don't need full snaps out of anybody. So if you can get a nice rotational, keep him fresh, I think it just makes a strong position even stronger. So don't hate the trade. Don't have the details of what they gave up on it right now, but just a team just beefing up. So Noto, any quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, just pulled up their schedule. They're going to be touchdown favorites this week, and then they play the Texans, then the Commanders, then the Colts, then Green Bay at home, Tennessee, New York, Chicago. I mean, they're going to be probably undefeated when they meet up with Dallas week 16. So
they legit might go undefeated into the playoffs, and that's going to be very, very heartbreaking for them at some point because they ain't winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm with you. They might go on a run undefeated. I mean, there's always you get tripped up somewhere along the line, but it would be fun. But then we got to watch it, the 72 Dolphins and the Champagne, same old story. So we'll see. Giants notes while we're here. To no surprise, no practice today for Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney. I don't think these dudes are ever going to play for these Giants. So quick note there. All right, Washington, Indy up next for us here. We got Colts at -3 here. That's down from 5.5 at open, total at 39.5. So another low total game. To no surprise, Noto. When you got Taylor Heineke on one side and Sam Ehlinger On the other side, the newly minted starting quarterback here for the Colts. They have benched Matt Ryan for the remainder of the season. No, you figure this one out for me. Because for Commanders, Colts, I don't have much here. This is a stay away for me. I have no idea how this one plays out. So what do you got here, Washington and Indianapolis?
I need to hear Chop's scouting report on Ellinger. I think he's a running quarterback, right?
He's got some mobility.
Yeah, he's his best asset is that he's just a winner. That's what they would say about Ellinger. I don't know. I was never really impressed with him at the University of Texas. He can run a little bit. He's not a fast runner. He's just a strong runner. I never did like his passing very much, but I'll give these guys props. They're not just sitting on Matt Ryan, who's obviously looks like dust right now, and just letting the year go by and punting it away. At least they're making a move and making an effort. But Ellinger's scouting report is if he's still the same guy he was around the Texas times, he can run a little bit, not great, but he can run a little bit, and then he struggles as a passer, man. I don't know, but he's got some weapons to throw to, so we'll see.
How many times do you think this team has picked up the phone and called Andrew Luck? I know he's like half the size he used to be. I mean, he's shrunken down, but do you think they're still making that call? No.
I mean, they love these veteran reclamation projects, so maybe they're trying to get him. But I don't know. For me, the fewer times the Colts throw the ball, the better, and they're probably not going to be throwing as much. They don't need 50 pass attempts a game when you have Jonathan Taylor. So I'll take the home team. I think it's an addition by subtraction with Ryan out.
Chase Young expected to return soon. Not going to be this week, but a note here for Washington. Get some strength back on that defense. Chop, this is a clear stay away for me. Noto prefers the Colts. What do you got here, Washington and Indy?
It's not a best bet, but I would lean the Colts. Maybe there's some a little bit of juice infused into this offense now with Ellinger, who's, like I said, not good, but then maybe you do what you do best and, turn around, hand the ball off. And Matt Ryan's arm looked like dust. At least Ellinger has a strong arm. It's not very accurate, but at least it's strong. So maybe that can open some things up. The bigger thing for me with Matt Ryan, or not just Matt Ryan, but the Colts, how much draft equity have they given up over the last few years bringing in veteran quarterbacks? Not just taking a shot on them, but, man, they've swapped some draft picks in the first round to bring in these guys, and none of these guys have worked out. That's a shame what they've done with their draft capital to bring in these guys, man.
Yeah, for sure. This I don't like this game at all. So quick update, 4th round pick to the Bears for Robert Quinn. So not a bad trade, in my opinion. So let's move on. Niners and Rams up next. Another game with some major line movement. This thing opened up. Rams -2.5. It has swung all the way to Niners -1.5. So big 4-point swing here. Total at 43. Chop will stay with you here. Niners have had their number. I mean, the Rams got it done when it mattered in the NFC Championship. But all in all, this has been a series dominated by the Niners. I'm sure that explains some of the line movement. We had that Deebo Samuel note earlier, so keep an eye out on that. I do have my last best bet teed up for this game, but Chop, I want to go to you here. In division game, big game. Both teams kind of sitting there right around 500. Who you got here, Niners and Rams?
I also have my last best bet, and it's also teed up for this game right here.
See if we're going head to head, or are we on the same side?
I hate taking a pick against a team that's had a little bit of time off a bye week to refresh their battery and get some things going. But this just sets up too well for the Niners here.
We're butting heads here, Chop.
I've got to go. The team coming off bye, that's nice and all, but like you said, what is it? McVay versus Shanahan. Shanahan owns him. And if not for dropped interception and some other fluky stuff, he would have won. They would have been in the Super Bowl instead of the Rams last year. And I also say that in limited time on the field last week, McCaffrey looked electric, unstoppable. Another week of that, getting some more plays in the repertoire. Buddy. And then the Rams are also going to limp in with another offensive line injury. I hate taking a team going against a team coming off of a bye week like this, but yeah, I gotta go 49ers here, man. Just too much stuff going for me.
All right, I'm going on the other side, and you make some valid points. Things are definitely stacked up against me and the Rams here in this one. The domination by Shanahan here, some of the injuries with the Rams, they just have not looked right. And even Stafford, going back to preseason, there were concerns about him. But this is a simple fade the public for me. Sean McVay with 2 weeks to get ready. I do believe in him as a coach, so I'm going to go with the Rams. 75, 80% of the bets coming in on the Niners here. I'm going to be on the lonely, away from the public island here, Noto. So settle the debate. Niners, Rams, what do you got?
I was going to go with my best bet on the Niners as well. For me, I mean, look, Cam Akers no longer in the picture. I don't think their running game is going to be very good. You get a lot of pressure on Stafford, and we've seen him, kind of struggle this season. Even their last win, I mean, against the Panthers, it was a pretty close game there until the end. So, yeah, talk about McCaffrey. The offense should be good. Shanahan, Onan, McVay, everything kind of lines up for the Niners, which does scare me. But I'll be a square.
Too easy.
I'll be a square. I'll be a square.
You guys told me the same thing last week. Kansas City was too easy against San Francisco, and here we go. I'm going on the other side. I'm going away from you guys. 2 on the Niners, 1 on the Rams here. So if you're out there listening, maybe just to stay away. You just root us on, and we'll see who comes out on top here. All right, Sunday Night Football, my Green Bay Packers. Back in action in Buffalo. Talk about line movement and this is the importance of scores and odds. Now, this opened up Buffalo -8.5. Their spread's as low as 10.5. There's also a 12, and that is what we're sitting at here at BetMGM. So, yeah, it's a point and a half, but that makes a difference over the long run. Total at 47.5. Derek, will stay with you. Gave you Washington last week against Green Bay. I don't have a best bet locked in here. Again, I do worry they're going to get blown out in this one, but maybe they show up. I mean, this is the first time Aaron Rodgers has been a double-digit underdog in his career here. But Buffalo coming off the bye, they've been so good on both sides of the ball. This Green Bay offense looks bad. The defense looks bad. I'm staying away from this personally, but what do you got here, Green Bay and Buffalo Sunday Night Football?
All right, I like that stat. First time Rodgers has been a double-digit underdog. We also saw Mahomes against the Bills earlier this season. First time in his career, he was a home underdog, and the Bills covered that spread. So I'm going with the better team. I'll take the Bills. I'm not locking them in. This would obviously be a huge kickstart for the Packers if they could get the job done. But, I mean, Bills are just dominant both ends of the ball.
This might be one I look for alternative lines. I hate to bury my team, but I could see them getting absolutely throttled here, if anything. So if I do bet it, that's probably the way that I will go, is look for those 20s, 21s, and hope Buffalo kind of rolls them here. And if anything, hey, it pushes us towards a better draft pick. Who knows? But Chop, my Packers, any shot here against this juggernaut Buffalo team?
To win the game, no, but that's a massive spread, so I'm going to stay away from it. I would lean Buffalo, but very, very small lean.
All right, let's go to Monday Night Football. Cincinnati and Cleveland, the last game we got on the docket here, opened up Cincy -2.5. That has climbed to 3.5 total at 47. So, Chop, Joe Burrow has looked outstanding. They put him in the shotgun for almost all of the game, and the numbers have just been ridiculous here. So another good matchup. This Cleveland defense has been terrible here. Cincy, small road favorites. Are you buying Burrow and company here?
I buy them in general, but in this particular game, if you're going to say throw that hook in there at 3.5, I would lean towards the Browns. I don't have a best bet, but I would say the Browns here. Up on the road, getting more than a field goal and a hook, I would take the Browns here. Bengals are okay, they're good, but I could really see Nick Chubb stepping up, having one of those patented big games, and Browns are just kind of biding their time. They just need to hang on to like a couple games under 500 until Deshaun gets back, and then they're going to be in good shape. So I think they really make a game out of this and possibly pull off the upset.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the proverbial must win. I'm with you. I don't love that, but if you're 2-6, 2-7, he comes back, you're already dead and gone. So, big spot here, Noto. Finish this up, Cincy and Cleveland. What do you got?
I am buying into Cincinnati's resurgence. I'm going to take them as 3 points on the road. If they can build a lead, I don't have a ton of faith in Brissett as a guy that's going to make a big comeback. So I'll take. I like what you said about the shotgun. I mean, they've been exclusively shotgun the last 2 weeks, and it's worked wonders for Burrow, both in terms of his efficiency and time in the pocket. So I like that. I don't really trust the Browns' defense at this point.
Is that a best bet?
That's my last best bet. Yep.
All righty. The best bets are locked in. So we'll do a quick recap of those. Notorious has Dallas, Philadelphia, Minnesota, San Francisco, and Cincinnati. Chop, Dallas, Philadelphia, Detroit, Tennessee, and San Francisco. And I am on Atlanta, Dallas, Detroit, Seattle, and the Rams. So best bets here for this week. Let's hope to get back on track. In first 6 weeks, we were rocking it. One minor blip in the radar. We'll get it back going here this week. All right, guys, final thoughts. We're at a little bit over an hour, not as many bye weeks this week, but cranked it all out. Noto, final thoughts for the people. Week 8, what do you got?
Yeah, looking to bounce back. Can't be much worse than last week, and that's just kind of the nature of NFL betting, DFS, all that stuff. You can always bounce back the next week. But for my hot take, Derrick Henry continues his 200-plus yards against the Texans, and they win by double digits. So hit those alternate lines.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, seeing those game logs, Derrick Henry now. I'm not a huge Derrick Henry guy, but the matchup, Houston's been terrible against the run. Jacobs went nuts on him last week, so I like that. Chop, final thoughts, week 8. What do you got, buddy?
Final thoughts are that that Bengals-Browns game on Monday Night Football also takes place on Halloween, and this is your annual reminder. Your annual reminder. If you're an adult without kids and you still dress up, you are a certified goofball.
Chop's favorite holiday. I forgot. We usually have a little Halloween special here, so we'll get a Halloween recap from Chop and Noto on next week's show. So if you are out, I kind of agree with Chop. I'm not the dress up guy. I mean, let's leave that for the kids. I always walk around with the kids. We have a good time, but some people put too much effort into this. They love Halloween. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat, I guess. But thank you so much for listening. Best of luck here with your bets and your DFS in week 8. For Chop, for Noto, I am Beer. We are the DFS OGs. Thank you to our friends over at BetMGM. Go check out scoresandodds.com and let's win some bets this week. Thank you so much for listening. We are out. Kick off the new pro football season with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up at BetMGM using bonus code GRINDERS, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, Tennessee, Virginia, Washington, D.C., West Virginia, Wyoming, or Ontario only. Must be 21 years or older to wager. 19 or older in Ontario. New customer offer only. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, D.C., Kansas, Louisiana, Nevada, Wyoming, or Virginia. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan. 1-800-GAMBLER in Indiana, Maryland, New Jersey, or West Virginia. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789 in Tennessee, or call 1-888-777-9696 in Mississippi and Ontario. If you have any questions or concerns about your gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Ohio, and Utah, and other states where prohibited. Promotional offers not available in Nevada and New York.